Assalamu alaikum. Suleiman Raheem here. Let's slay some demons. Sisters and brothers, as you all who are waking up know, we are in the most critical time in history. Those of you who have been around for a while know you have never seen a time like this. It's definitely a time of change. We're proceeding quickly into the time of unprecedented trouble. We're within the realm of it now, but it hasn't reached its peak yet, the boiling point. But we're there. We're on the perimeter. We're there. We see the world is totally dissatisfied. We see America is coming apart at the seams. It's being tested at the seams, stress tested at the seams. That today. And what it means, what mind unbound means, because our mind has been bound for 6,000 years. We see that in the book of Daniel, where it says that tree was cut down and it was bound by a strip of gold, by a strip of iron and a strip of brass. And those of you who have some knowledge of Daniel know iron represents the European countries and brass represents false Israel. It was bound by them. But now the binds are about to be destroyed, disintegrated. And what does that mean? Mind unbound. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's proceed into the presentation. Mind unbound. I don't know why. Anyway, let's. Am I on? Move it up here. And shift it here. Well, here's some breaking news. We know that this war, that's what we're waiting for. The Messenger Elijah Muhammad said, do not pray for this day. It was wise advice, where he said, you don't know what you're up against. That puts the lie to them scriptees that tell you that Elijah Muhammad revealed everything. Because why would he tell you you do not know what you're up against? If he had revealed everything to you, you would know what you're up against, wouldn't you? So they tell you all this stuff. Oh, nobody's coming after Elijah. He's the last. He's revealed everything. He's a messenger of black and everything. Well, look in Theology of Time. And a brother asked him, because I was present. I was in feet of the messenger. The brother asked him that. The brother came across like, hey, I can't wait till that time comes. When war comes, I can't wait till, time for deliverance. And Elijah Muhammad told him, the messenger said, brother, do not pray for that day, for you do not know what you're up against. Now, why would he know if he was revealed everything? If everything was in the message of black man, right? If Elijah Muhammad revealed everything, there's nothing else to be revealed, then why would he tell him, you do not know what you're up against? And so that means that he's going to go through it in ignorance. That means there's not going to be anyone that's going to be there at that time to tell them what to do at that time. See, you parse, this, and you understand if you just read, read and listen to what the messenger said. They're scriptees. A lot of them are analytical, so they take every word literally. They don't look into it. They don't read between the lines. They can't. It's impossible for them to do that. That's why you have the Bible. We're going to talk about that in a minute. See, those that take it literally, because that's the technical mind. It takes it literally because it has to read it has to take and read a blueprint. And when it's given the blueprint, it has to produce what that blueprint said. So it has to be able to read literally. Because if it start adding, putting stuff in, then the final product, the building, is not going to look anything like the designer meant to look. If the technical person is going to, add stuff and everything else, so well, I think he meant this. I think no, you just follow it. You just follow the blueprint, and that's what they do. They follow the Bible literally. That's all they're capable of doing. That's why you see the world as it is now. It's all messed up, hating on women, abusing women, women's do no good, and everything else. That's not what the Bible says. That's what it says literally. See, but when you understand, but it wasn't meant to be. Say that because that's why it says it was sealed. So if it's sealed, that means if you read the sealed version, that means you're not getting information, the real information. You're getting the sealed version. You have to unseal it to find out what it's really saying. So anyway, here we go, and we see what's going on right now. Have anybody noticed? They're not public. They're not talking about it in the news. They're not talking about it. You have to go to the internet. There's some news station that talks about a little bit, but not the normal ones. But this is what's going on right now in the Middle East right now. You see, last week, Trump sent B-52 bombers, talking about a deterrent. B-52 bombers? Those are nuclear bombers. Those are bombers, for their nuclear ready. They carry nuclear bombs. So why they need it? They're saying Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons, so why do they send B-52s to deter Iran? Seems like Iran's already deterred, doesn't it? So are those defensive weapons? Those are not defensive weapons. Those are offensive weapons. They're both ways, offensive and offensive. But they're aggressive weapons, first strike type weapons. And then he backed up with submarines. He said, why need submarines? You have to think these things through, brothers and sisters. These submarines they sent a couple of days ago, they have, I think it's 162 Tomahawk missiles, whatever, guided missiles. What's they need? Nuclear equipped. Because see, and another thing I'm not showing here, but they also have a false Israel submarine there also. This is in the Persian Gulf. What they doing in the Persian Gulf for this? They also Israeli false Israel submarines there also. See, because you see what's going on. They're trying to get a path. They're trying to let false Israel get a path to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. See, and the things that have to fly over Sunni territory. So now you see, peace breaking out. So in other words, they make all these agreements with Sunnis. That means, so part of that is so they can allow them, right, to fly over their territory. Because see, they fly over, that means they give Iran a warning. And Iran has very strong air defenses. See, so they don't want Iran to know if they attack. They don't want Iran to know. So they have to fly over Sunni territory to get to them. And if these Sunnis are not friendly with them, they would alert Iran. You see. So they all peace break. We see, false Israel, they want the whole pinata, so to speak. They want it all. a divine cargo. They take over this Arab country, take over that one, until they get all. They believe, they saying they don't believe it, but they tell everybody it all belongs to them because they're the true seed of Abraham. It all belongs to them anyway. That's another story. But the point is that how would you solve that problem? Because see, first they have to get permission to fly over, and then they say they have to refuel because they don't have any just with enough uh, uh, that can go that far, right, and return. So they have to refuel them. That's another problem. See, then plus they expose them to air defenses that Iran has, so they can't guarantee that they're going to knock out all of the nuclear sites. And if they don't knock them all down, then the risk they run is that Iran will retaliate or not retaliate. That means they would either way, right? They would be more aggressive with their nuclear program, whereas they say they're not very far from actually obtaining a nuclear weapon, and now they're really motivated to get one. At that point, they would be highly motivated to get a nuclear weapon. So they have to make sure they take out all the sites. So they got all these issues they got to deal with. But submarine solves that problem. See, because with all these missiles they got on the submarines, plus they don't have to fly over any place, plus they hit Iran suddenly because they're right around the coast of Iran. Hit them suddenly without, don't have to worry about refueling, early warning, flying over Sunni land. See, air defenses, had to worry about any of that stuff. So yeah, so why are they sending the submarines over there all of a sudden in B-52s? Think about it. See, and all of a sudden, Trump said, "We'll never let them know," but now everybody's distracted. Nobody's talking about this, right? Well, he's going to have to call martial law and all this stuff. So everybody's focused on that because when they make their move, they want to be sudden. And will they make the move or not? We'll see. We will see. We'll see if they actually make the move or not. But we know they're highly motivated to do it because as far as Israel needs this done, and they know they need it done with Mr. Trump because Mr. Biden, the thief, see, he's not inclined for this war. He's not inclined to go against Iran. He wants to reinstate that agreement that Trump tore up. And he had a lot of people in his orbit that's not so interested in getting into it with Iran. See, and they would block because for false Israel to go against Iran, they would need American intelligence, so to speak, if there's such a thing. And if America holds that, that's another problem for them. So what they need it done quickly before Trump leaves office. They need a first strike, a hailstorm, complete, wipe out everything that even close to a nuclear program in Iran. And that submarines had the power to do that. And the B-52s can reinforce it. See, because the B-52s, they're in Israel. Now, why is the B-52s in Israel? See, American flies B-52s over Sunni land undetected. But Israel, false Israel can't. They don't have that capability. Think about it. Okay, we're going to get into our presentation here. It's a few subjects. They all come to work together. So I'm going to talk about a few verses. Because we talk about the Bible here. We talk about mathematics. We talk about physics. We talk about science. We don't talk about BS. We don't distort scripture. We bring the scripture out. You bring any scripture out and we'll explain it. We don't distort. We don't say, oh, that's no good. Oh, you don't know, we don't go that way. It's all good. But we will have an issue if you bring something, right, that's not King James Version. But if you bring translator, we will not argue with you on it. Hey, if you can show us something we're doing wrong based on what that scripture says, then we'll submit. But you don't know what it says because you haven't broke the seals. You're still looking at it through a veil. And then you distort even what you do see. Even what you see clearly, you still distort. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's move on into the presentation. See. Before I go, it says 154 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles. 154 on that submarine. That's just the American submarine. What about the Falls Israel submarine? See. And these include nuclear weapons, by the way. See. Guided missile cruisers. And they also sent guided missile cruisers. So they bring us some heavy firepower. Heavy firepower. And then they have special, all thing they don't tell you. I think they have 150 or 200 special forces troops on these submarines. On that submarine. What are they there for? So are they just sitting over there just because we're going to sit over here because we think it's a good idea? Suddenly, all of a sudden, they didn't send the whole time he was president for 40 years. They didn't 40 years they didn't do it. All of a sudden, in the last couple of weeks, this is happening, and you don't hear anything on the news about it all. Even if maybe they ain't paying attention, maybe they won't, whatever. But the thing is, he's keeping them distracted because what they focus on. He's not going to lead the office. He's going to call martial law. See, those things, and he's allowing that stuff to come out because they get that attention off of what he's doing over here. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's move on. Okay, brothers and sisters, we're talking about mind here. So, in brief, we have 3 types of brains on, right, in existence right now. We had ambidextrous brain. That was a brain predates Dr. Shabazz. That's how we were. The one they tell you in the, when you study brain, say, well, yeah, the analytical side and the analytical side and spatial side, right? Left side brain, both equal in power, right? One analytical, the one spatial. That's the type of brain structure of brain we had before Dr. Shabazz came along. See, and he made an alteration. See, he isolated the spatial side. It took 50,000 years to do that, and that represents the seed of Abraham over here, with tribe of Shabazz, with spatial. That's the side that says be, and the technical side, the analytical side, says it is. We are the creative. They're technical. We come with the idea. They bring it to existence. We give them schematics, give them the blueprint, and they produce. See, that's the analytical. That's Dr. Shabazz. He came along and isolated the analytical. So now we have those 2 plus he had the original. Those 3. See, and the original one, right? See, the original brain, right? It is like a bridge between the other 2. See, because they need to communicate with each other. But the spatial is not 100% spatial. It's like 90% and 10% technical because it has to be able to communicate. And this technical is 90% technical and 10% spatial because it has to be able to communicate. That's the idea. But we do have those that are 100% spatial, have those 100% technical. And we see that. I'm not going in detail about it. But the 100% technical, that's what we're dealing with right here. The devils we're dealing with right there enslaved us and everything else, right? They're 100% technical. See, they don't like us. They have no connection with us. They can't communicate with us. See, they don't understand us. They want to bring into a mechanical world because that's way technical. Technical builds mechanical things. See, because it's spatial, biological things. Things fit together. Things interact with it. But technical things, they mechanical. That's what the world want to bring in. And they want to get rid of the spatial world. They want to bring in this technical world. You see Terminator and cyborgs and the Borg and the Star Trek and all that stuff. They want to bring, that's their vision. So the thing is that the Quran, and if you read it here, it says, it has been revealed, a book revealed to thee, subverse are decisive. That's the analytical side, decisive. Read it literally, just like it says, literally. And some are allegorical. That's the spatial side, right? You have to figure it out. See? Read between the lines and everything, understand it. That's the spatial side. So it's both. Both are incorporated in the Quran. That book is revealed, right, to the original, the way we were before Dr. Shabazz. See? That book was revealed, and that's the book we dealt with, because that's the only book we could deal with, but we dealt with from the spatial side. See, because first, okay, back up here. First we had the analytical book. See, that came, Jesus revealed that, so-called, biblical Jesus. That's the Bible. We talk about that in Genesis, right? See, but it was sealed. So only for analytical, period. See, it was sealed. So that was flipped, because look at it literally. And so they brought a world in. They brought a world in, right? They based on Christianity, it brought a world in that was analytical, because that's the software that was given that runs on their brain. That's the updated software that was first, actually, that was the first software that was given that runs on their brain. Because remember, they're a new brain. See, Dr. Yakub brought them existence, right? And have an analytical brain. And now the Bible, sealed Bible, is a software to run on that brain. See, they had other software to run on that brain, but we're talking about from the view from 2,000 years ago. So this software ran on their brain, fine. It was designed for their brain, because they have an analytical brain, so the software was designed to run on their brain. So that's why the world you see right now, right, is all technical, right, machines, all this AI, all this stuff and everything else, right? And it's totally destructive to the biological world, the biological system. They can't work together. So now you got this thing called, they call it global warming and all this other stuff they say is going on, destroying the environment and all that kind of stuff, because they're at odds with each other. Because this environment, everything is biological, it's spatial, but they're analytical, so they war with each other naturally. Anyway, that's the world they brought in. The Christians brought this world in you see right now. See? Okay. However, it had to be slowed down. It had to be slowed down because it was going too fast. And if it hadn't been slowed down, right, it would have been, right now, where we are right now, it was slowed down for 1,000 years. If it hadn't been slowed down 1,000 years, can you imagine what this world would be like right now? The whole environment, everything had been tore up. Hardly any biological life would be able to survive. If they had, what you see right now, if this had, all this so-called technology and everything that came in existence 1,000 years earlier, what do you think would be right now? So that's why the Quran had to come in. The Quran, right, ambidextrous. So in other words, it came in and it had power for 1,000 years because it empowered the people that was before, the mind before Dr. Yakub. See, the mind before Dr. Shabazz. Those people, they're still around now. The Arabs are those people. See, you got a lot of North Africa, those people. See, and they embraced this because this was the mind, this software runs on their mind, runs perfectly on their mind. See, because it serves both. See, it serves the analytical and technical. So some technical people glommed onto it because they looked at it from the technical side. And some spatial people glommed onto it because they looked from the space side. And that was us. We accepted Islam, but the Sunnis didn't like the Islam we accepted because we looked at it from the spatial side. See? And the Shia, right? The Sunnis didn't like the way the Shia looked at it because they looked at it from the technical side. But what they were supposed to do, if you read Genesis, they had a sword that was supposed to keep Adam and Eve away from the tree of life. We're tree of life, and Adam and Eve, right? That's Gog and Magog. See? Destructors. Destructors. So they did. They kept us separated because they moved all the Europeans up. They kept bottled up in Europe, and they kept us bottled up in Africa. Kept us separated. They was in the middle, and they kept us separated for 1,000 years. They kept Europeans bottled up in Europe. They wasn't messing around in Africa, and they kept the Africans bottled up in Africa. They wasn't messing around in Europe. Yeah. So that's the purpose. You understand what these books, the purpose. So that kept them bottled up for 1,000 years, slowed them down for 1,000 years. But because read the story about dual Quran. Remember, I'm not saying it properly. Remember, he was supposed. That was his job. He was supposed to seal up Gog and Magog, right? That was a mercy. He said the Quran was a mercy. He sealed them up, but he says that mountain would be, that seal, that mountain was a mountain of brass and iron that kept them locked up there. You get Daniel for that one. But it said it would allow it, make it crumble, and then they'd come out and they'd cover the whole earth. They would come out from every elevated place. The Quran tells you that itself. So that's what the Quran was, to bottle them up for 1,000 years. To slow them down. But it said they would be released. And they were. Chapter 20 tells you the same thing. Chapter 20 tells you the same thing in the Injil. Read chapter 20. They were thrown into the pit for 1,000 years. They tell you that's future. No, that's past. That already happened. That's part of the deception to make you think the past is the future and the future is the past. That's the confusion. You understand? So it's right there. Dal Quran, I think I'm not saying it properly, but I think that's the name. And read it. See? That was the whole thing. He's supposed to lock up Gog and Magog, right? For 1,000 years. And then they'll be released. Slow them down. Because if they hadn't slowed down, would have been, oh man, can you imagine? Like I said, if all this stuff you see going on right now, they had been able to establish that 1,000 years earlier, atomic bombs, internet, AI, jet plane, they had 1,000 years earlier, then what would you think they'd be right now? What do you think we would be? We would be gone. So that's what slowed them down. Understand? Okay. So that's the purpose of the Quran. Then it's done its job. It only had 1,000 years. But now they're released. Now I'm going to talk a couple of things here before I go into the presentation. Because those of you study, you'll understand this. When you put pressure on something, it'll keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller until the pressure that you put on becomes equal to the pressure that's exposed to. So if you press on something, you keep on until the pressure that it builds up until this is to both pressure equal, then it stops. See? So if you have higher pressure on lower pressure, higher pressure will keep squeezing lower pressure, and lower pressure will the pressure will build up, and that lower pressure builds up until it's equal to the pressure, to higher pressure. So now both of them equal. So now nothing happens. They're both equal. And that's what happened because Sunni Islam put so much pressure on Europe for 1,000 years, and it made, because when you put pressure on something like a diamond, like gold, coal, you put pressure on coal, you put enough pressure on it, at a certain point, it reaches a critical point where it has to change because it can't, it's going to either be crushed or it's going to transform because the pressure is too great. It can't withstand it anymore. It got small, but now it can't withstand it anymore. It has to change to a new form to withstand. It's like you shifting, got a bag of potatoes on your shoulders, too heavy, so you try to shift it. trying to find out where you can put it where it's not so feel so uncomfortable. Same thing. So you put so much pressure on it, right? And it can't withstand anymore, right? So only one or two things happen is either transform to another form where it can withstand the pressure, or it crushed to dust. See? So it has the capability to transform, then it will transform. That's what coal has the ability to transform. So transform to a greater structure that can withstand the pressure that's causing it, that causing it to transform. But if it doesn't, then it crushed to dust. So the pressure that Sunni Islam was putting on Europeans, it caused them to transform. That's why some of these systems we have right now, democracy, capitalism, all that kind of stuff, those are systems they had to adapt, because before they had a feudal system, the system they had could not withstand Sunni Islam. It was crumbling under that pressure. So then it had transformed. They call it the Renaissance. Read up that capitalism. Renaissance happened 500 years ago, when the whole European system transformed, and they got away from the church, because that the church and kings and stuff, because that couldn't withstand the pressure of Islam. So total transformation. That's what called the Renaissance, is total transformation. They threw away the church, right, and went to the library and started studying science and mathematics. All that happened 500 years ago, called the Renaissance. This is documented. 1,000 years dark age, it says the same thing in chapter 20. 1,000 years dark age, then the Renaissance. When God let loose, covered the whole planet. They didn't know about the whole planet before then. But because it was Sunni Islam was the force that caused them to transform, now when they transformed, their structure was strong enough to withstand the pressure that Sunni Islam was putting on it. So now Sunni Islam, the pressure was equal, so now Sunni Islam had no factor on them no more, no power in them anymore. That's why they're kicking Sunni Islam's ass, because Sunni Islam has no power in them anymore. That's what the Quran tells about the Al-Quran. So when they come out, you ain't gonna be able to do anything with them. So nobody can destroy them. It says in Hadith that nobody will be able to destroy them but God Himself. Because you exhausted, you spent your power, you spent your pressure, because you used it all and you didn't crush them. That was the whole idea, to crush them, but they didn't crush them. They was able to transform. Because they didn't transform, they would have been crushed. Transform. So now the pressure, because everything is about pressure. The pressure that Sunni is putting on them, nothing. They play with Sunnis like a little ring around their finger or something. It's nothing. That's why you see what's happening. See? So at that time, that's when Sunni Islam, right, couldn't keep us separated anymore. They failed, and they actually betrayed us. That's another story, right? And so that's when Sunni Islam had no power to keep us separated anymore, keep us separated from Gog and Magog. They came after us. They got us. See, and what they do? See, we had, right, the spatial side of it, because we look from the spatial side. Sunnis didn't like that. That's part of the reason why they betrayed us, because they ain't like our Islam. We was Muslims. They ain't like our Islam. It's like they don't like the Shia Islam. They betrayed us, gave us into the hand of our enemies. See, they don't want to talk about that now. That's true. They betrayed us. So Arabs, Ishmael, they're enemies too. They took our land because they forced us out. They forced us out of that area. They forced us back into Africa, which actually Saudi Arabia is not. They call it Saudi Arabia is really North Africa. They moved us out of there, south. They took our land, our religion, right? Our culture, our holy sites, everything. That's ours. We're the true seed of Abraham. That's what it says. Isaac was inherited, not Ishmael. Okay, we're not going to go into there any further. But anyway, so we had the Quran, but we were from the Sunni side. We were from the spatial side. See, and you had Europeans, right? Especially the Shia, they was looking at it from the spatial side. So that's why I call them the Shia. So what you got now, you got the Sunnis. They're against both sides. That's why it says when the blessings came, right? He said, Abraham told him, says, well, he told Ishmael, said, you'd be like a donkey of a man, right? He said, your hand he said, Ishmael be a donkey of a man, stupid, right? He says, his hand would be against everyone, everyone's hand be against him. That's what you see right now. They're against everybody. They're the jinn. Okay. I'm putting a lot of things together here, bro. So they're the jinn they talk about. They said they weren't going to submit to Adam. See? But we had to submit to Adam. They said they weren't going to do it. They're the jinn. Jinn is not an ethnic group. It's a mindset. See? I resist. I'm not going to make change. Status quo. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to adjust. I'm going to resist any kind of change. Anyway, that's what that is. Okay. So understand that. So let's move on to the next one. That's what the Quran is all about. Okay, let's move to the next one. So then, here we have Gog and Magog. Remember, they transliterate. They got the Bible, but they got the sealed Bible, the literal. And so that's what they gave us. That's the because remember that's your mind. That's the software. Your software is your mind. That's software they gave us. See, so now they have this kind of software, literal, right? Analytical software run on a spatial mind. And they're natural enemies to each other. Remember I said, the analytical and spatial, they're enemies to each other. One wants a mechanical universe, one a spatial universe, right? They're natural enemies to each other. That's why for trillions of years, right, the spatial kept the analytical in check. Because they need each other. They need each other. One can't do without the other. The analytical needs the spatial, needs the ideas, because what good is to be able to, you're a good technician, you have no ideas, you have nothing, there's nothing to build, you have nothing, you need some schematics, I mean, you can be all technical you want to, but you need some kind of blueprint or something, but you don't have no ideas. And what's good having ideas if you have nobody to bring those ideas into existence? So you need to, but they're natural enemies when they're unbound, right? So once they gave us that analytical mind, sealed Bible, then we became our own enemies. Because we run a mind that's against us. So we're thinking against ourselves. We don't know it because we think that's the proper way to think. So we hate ourselves personally, and we hate people like us. Because we run the mind that hates all special people. Hates them. Will resist them, will not submit to them anything. So we became self-haters, like Elijah Muhammad said. That's how we became self-haters. Because we run in a mind that tells us that's against us. So we think it against ourselves. So we actually hurting ourselves. That gets into the demon-possessed man that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, right? Where he was beating on himself. He didn't have his right mind. So that's the Bible. The Bible, I said, you had as in the Quran, it was the spatial is mixed with the technical, with the analytical was mixed together, right? But it was designed to be mixed like that. So you read it mixed. That's not the Bible. The Bible has both, but it's not designed to be mixed because you have the sealed, right, which is analytical, and that's the way they read it because they have no idea. They can't see the spatial because it's locked, it's sealed. It's not like the Quran, like I said, both of them open. But in the Bible, they're separated in one book. See? And so that's what you have. You have the sealed version, unsealed version. So we ran around with the sealed version for 400 years. And the Gog and Magog is let loose. See? until at the end of 40 years, the end of that time, then we'd be given our right mind back because the Lamb would come and unseal it. But first, we need someone, we need a transition because we're going backwards, we're reading analytical backwards. We need a transition because you can't go from reverse to drive without going through neutral or you're going to tear up something. So we need Elijah Muhammad to come to put brakes on it, put us in neutral to stop us from going backwards. That's why I said the first resurrection didn't have any spirit. The spirit, you need to go forward. I mean, you just have form. That's what neutral is. You had form, but you had no spirit. So you had a form, right? He had form, but he had no spirit. That's neutral. So Elijah Muhammad gave this form. You know, I have form. Even the Lion Farrakhan says the same thing. He says, well, we had doubt. It was all about doubt. We didn't really follow Elijah Muhammad because we was doubtful of everything he was doing. Whether he was true about that, you don't understand it yourself. So that's what's going on there. So you needed him to put us neutral. That's why I said he had to prepare the way before the messenger of the covenant. That's the one that's going to take you back home. That's the covenant, because we already feel one part of the covenant. We feel the reverse part of the covenant, right? So the reverse part of the covenant was going through the 40 years of hell. We reverse. So then you got the neutral. That's why Elijah had to come, right? And the messenger of the covenant is taking it forward, because that's the covenant of feel. Because you already feel the negative part. So the only part to feel now is the positive part. And that's where the messenger of the covenant comes. So he take and reveal to you the angel on the unsealed book, which gets you going into drive. So in between there, you got the valley of decision. Decide whether you're going to go back into reverse or you're going to go into drive. That's what it's all about. So when you read this verse right here, it says, and do not be conformed to this world. In other words, don't go reverse. Do not be conformed. Don't choose reverse. But be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Get your new mind and go forward. So that you may prove that what the will of God is. That's the will of God. What's the will of God? Will of God to fulfill the covenant, which is good, acceptable, and perfect. That covenant is perfect. That you got to understand these verses. That's what that verse is telling you right there. Do not choose reverse, because you're going to have people calling you reverse, right? That's Farrakhan Legion, beset by demons. We'll talk about that in a minute. Do not long listen to that. Say, be transformed, renewal of your mind. See? How you get a new mind? Get rid of old mind. Renewing of your mind. A new mind. So that you may prove what the will of God is. What's the will of God? You may prove it going to the promised land. That's the covenant. You understand? That's what that verse means. So you have open Bible and you have the sealed one. See? Because the sealed one, you see, I got in Korean or whatever, but they don't know what it means. They think they know what it means because they're reading the literal version. That's why I say this world are messed up. They oppressive towards women and everything else. They enslaved us. They killed, murdered, and genocide. All that stuff is justified in the literal version, in the sealed version. It's not justified once you get into the unsealed version, Injil, then you read a whole different book altogether. Those of you who've been studying, you know, once you get the unsealed version, you read a whole different book. It's a whole different book than you was reading before. It's not the same book. You say, this is a different book. No, it's just unsealed now. And it has nothing to do with what you was reading when you thought it was, when you was reading the sealed version. There's no connection. Okay, brothers and sisters, move on. Okay, and this one, now what it's talking about here. Now we got to read this very carefully. This is very interesting because here it talks about the new nation. It says, before she travailed, right? Let me read this. It said, before she was in labor, right? This is I make this a little bigger. I think I can. Okay, there you go. Before she labored, she gave birth. For her pain came, she delivered a male child. Who had heard such a thing? Who had seen such a thing? Now read this carefully. Before she was in labor, right? Before her pain came. But look at this next one. Shall the earth in white? Shall the earth be made to give birth in one day, or a nation be born at once? As soon as Zion was in labor, she gave birth. Wait a minute, hold it. Now she's in labor. See, so you're talking about two different situations here. See, because one they say before she was labor, and this was during labor. And that's what you see over here on the left. Because that's what I've been telling you. The original nation, the elect, the seed of Abraham, right? They're not going to go into labor. In other words, they're not going to be attacked. They're the ones delivered. That's why you see them up there at the top already. They're already up there. Then the one is still down there. And see, right now, remember, God and Magog, they represent earth also. And the earth, Magog, is pregnant with the nation of Islam. That's what it's talking about. That would say, will the earth be made to give birth in one day? Or a nation be born, or shall a nation born once? It means that's part of it. That's not just talking about that one there. In this case, it's talking about this one and also the elect, the seed of Abraham. NOI are Levites. They're not seed of Abraham, they're grafted in tribes. They're not tribe of Shabbat, they're grafted in. They're talking about the two. See? Should I bring forth to the time of birth and not cause delivery? That means it's going to look like it's disaster. When they attack, it's going to look like case closed, it's all over, right? Destruction day. That's why it says that. Because he says, no, don't worry. It's going to look like, but you ain't got to worry. Because Suleiman's going to be there, deliver your ass. You ain't got to worry about it, but it's going to look, right? Like it's a time of unprecedented trouble. When's the time of unprecedented trouble in everybody's life? The time of death. There ain't no time worse than that in your entire life. It's only one time you die. And that's the story of Abraham. When he took his son up to the mountain, and he's about to plunge the knife into his heart. You see? And plunge the knife into his heart. And grab it. That's what's talking about here. So you got two things. Before she was in labor, she gave birth. That's one on top. That's the elect. That's the true seed of Abraham. See, she gave birth before this war. Before they attacked us. Okay? See. Shall the earth be made to give birth in one day? Now the earth, that's what it means, earth. See, Magog and Gog are part of earth. But now this was pregnant. Both were pregnant. Actually, one pregnant with demons, one pregnant with the NOI. See? Shall the earth be made to give birth in one day? So it's going to happen. When they talk 1 day, talking 1 month. What's happening? 1 month period. But as soon as Zion was in labor, she gave birth to her children. See, first it says son, a male child, then say children. It's two different things. You've got to read things very carefully. But one, right, has to go through tribulation. Because it says, as soon as, as soon as Zion was in labor, that means you in pain. The other one said before pain came. First said before her pain came. But this one says she's in pain. So she's got to go through, you understand, tribulation. Okay? Hope you understand. Okay. Now I want to talk about demon possessed man. I'm going to spend a little time with that because Exodus, Exodus is under veil, but it's a thin veil. So if you look real hard, right, see, get your microscope, you can see it. If that's what you intend, if that's what your intentions are to really see, find out what's there instead of trying to file something to justify your BS. Okay. So this is very illuminating. Just want to read the story. So we're going to read it. Some of it, it says, there came other side of the sea in the country of Gosens, whatever. When he got the boat to come out, Suleiman, immediately a man from the tombs with an unclean spirit in him, that's demons, unclean spirit, right? He got unclean spirit, and he had been immediately a man from the tomb with an unclean spirit met him. See, so they came in contact with each other. See, this is talking about Suleiman, going to the Farrakhan's mess. I'm not going to all that. I'm going to get distracted here. See, God did spend some time with them. And he had been dwelling among the tombs. I mean, among the dead. That's what Lazarus is. See, they call Lazarus the lost founds. See, because Elijah did not raise Lazarus. Suleiman did. See, read backwards. There was two resurrections. The first had no spirit, but the second one was raised by son of man or Suleiman, son of man, Suleiman, right? He had spirit, right? Okay. So he's lived amongst the lost founds. That's NOI, right? Dwelling amongst the tombs, right? So that shows that he's separated from Lazarus. He's not part of Lazarus because he's dwelling amongst them, but they're still in the tombs, right? And no one was able to bind him anymore, even with a chain, because he had often been bound with chains and shackles and chains had been torn apart by him, and the shackles broken to pieces. That means he had been enslaved. But now it's broken. Who broke him? Elijah Muhammad broke him. See? But now he's possessed by a demon. Elijah Muhammad broke all those chains. That's what he did. Broke the chains, right? Put it in neutral. Broke the chains, right? And no one was strong enough to subdue him. See? No one. The devils couldn't do it anymore. Only the demons could. So they had to send the demons in to trick him. Because they knew who the devil was now. So they wouldn't be tricked by him. He had to send the demons in because they look like us, walk like us, talk up. They're devils in black skin. They taught babies. See? They master's children, the black sheep. And no one was strong enough to subdue him. Constantly, night and day, he was screaming among the tombs in the mountains and gashing himself with stones. He was not only out of his mind, remember, he's screaming amongst the tombs in the mountains. He was constantly doing it, night and day, and gashing himself. So not only was he out of his mind, but he was destroying himself. He was self-destructive. He was hurting himself. He inflicted pain on himself. What is that? That's the NOI, and plus the black people in general. They lost their mind, so they got Christianity. Remember, they still got right? Because that's what's going on with Farrakhan. He's getting back that Sunni mind, right? Because remember now, you got to be very careful about this. Remember, the Quran has both sides, the technical and the analytical. And you look at it from both sides, the technical side or analytical side. They all mixed together, decisive and allegorical. You see? So, but the Bible, right, it has the bound side, the seal side, that's just the analytical. Okay? So what's going on is that Farrakhan's, right, you got the demons out there, they still got this Christian, but Farrakhan, he's taking you away from what Elijah Muhammad was teaching you and taking you back to the analytical side of the Quran. He's taking back to the Quran, analytical side. Okay? He's mixing up a little bit, but primarily the analytical side. So you still get an analytical brain, analytical mind running on your spatial brain. That's what's going on here. So you see, these black folks, they're supporting They're supporting the Democratic Party that's totally against them by every measure. Totally. Aborting their children, sending jobs overseas, putting them in prison for long sentences for nothing. Over 22 million aborted. And these policies, they're voting for with alacrity. And then you go on the Sunni side. I mean, when Farrakhan giving that Sunni stuff, right? And what's that? They don't want to see, they ain't going nowhere. We ain't going to the promised land, so we stand here, right? They want to bring devils to the no eye. They're not devils anymore. You see? We're going to stay here with Daddy. With some 6 states or whatever. So it's the same thing. So it's still got that analytical mind running. So that's what's going on with him. He lost his mind because the demons have done this. The demons have done this to him. This after fire. See, this after Elijah, because they were broke to change and everything, but now the demons got him. See, it says he was he had unclean spirit. No, that's it. It said immediately a man from the tombs with an unclean spirit met him. So he was possessed by demons at that point when Jesus come on the scene. Joshua. Okay? Understand. Then, seeing Jesus from a distance, he ran up and bowed down before him. See? That's instinct. His instinct was to go along with that because what he was hearing from Joshua made sense because that software ran perfectly on his spatial mind because that software designed to run his mind. And he ran his mind. That software designed to run on his mind. I mean, that software designed to run his brain. Software is the mind, designed to run his brain. So, hey, he responded. But before they could get going, right? Here you got Legion, Farrakhan, and shouting with a loud voice. See, they tell him, what business do we have with each other, Jesus? See, what you doing here? See, Son of Man, Moses. So Farrakhan knows who Suleiman is. He knows who Suleiman is, but he keep deceiving his people. He don't want them to know. See, he knows. See, I implore you by God, do not torment me. Listen to nature's torment. Listen to nature's torment. For he had been saying to him, come out of the man, you unclean spirit. He was called Farrakhan out. Say, get away from these brothers and sisters, you demons. He called them out. And he said, will you stop doing that? He says, do not stop tormenting me. Come, he says, first he says, right, he says, I implore you, do not torment me. For he had been saying, that's a torment. He said, that's the nature of torment. Because he was saying, he's exposing them. See? And so Jesus kept exposing them. In fact, he actually totally outed them. Because when you call someone's name, that means you know who they are. When you make them explain their name, it makes, then they mean, right? Reveal their name, that means they reveal who they are. That's how you expose. Your name exposes you. Once you know your name, okay, know who you are. You're exposed. So Jesus exposed them totally. He says, and what is your name? And he said to him, my name is Legion. Louis Eugene Grounds, NY backwards. You can't make this up, brothers and sisters. Farrakhan was like, no, my last name ain't Grounds. Yes, it is. Because that was your mother's maiden name. They went out and Googled and mixed that up. Because believe it, that wasn't like that. When I first went out there, his mother was, I think, Sarah Mae Grounds. That was her maiden name. She was not married when Farrakhan's devil father raped her. And she got pregnant, right? So technically, she never got married, at least, before he was born. So technically, his last name should have been her maiden name. Louis Eugene Grounds, NY backwards. That's perfect. But so they can make whatever they want to make out of it. So he exposed them. He exposed, made him reveal who he is. He made him reveal who he is. See? He says, we are many. That's all the demons with him. See? And then what next? And then he began to implore him. If this don't get you, earnestly, do not send me out of the country. He doesn't want, he doesn't want any part of the Abrahamic covenant. He doesn't want any part of that. Because we're going to promise land. That's why he said we ain't going nowhere. Ain't that what he's saying? We ain't going nowhere. But the Abrahamic covenant says we are. And they'll talk about Abrahamic covenant, but when it gets to the point of we leaving, we ain't going nowhere. We're going to stay here. We're going to rule this country. We like it here. Brothers and sisters, that's the scripture. Take it or leave it. It says those with him, son of perdition, they don't want the truth. They hate the truth. They want no part of this. So if they're not accepting this, brothers and sisters, after it's clear, they tell you who they are. They're either scriptees or demons, most likely demons. Scriptees, right? Time makers. They're stuck in the past. They're as bad as the demons, right? See? Or just total idiots. And we don't want any of them. We don't want script. We don't want those stuck in the past. So we don't try to drag me. That's like trying to lift somebody out the graveyard. Trying to pull somebody into the future that's stuck in the past. You in the future keep moving on. You're blessed. We reaching back in the past and pull somebody back in the graveyard, say, oh man, I'm rich now, I'm going to go back and get mom out the graveyard. You move on. So they time makers. So they lost the time. See? And we don't be careful, we become time makers, so our time will pass. When your time passes, the new generation comes in. Now, if you're going to try to hold them up, then you become a time maker. You become a jinn. We got to keep time moving along, brothers and sisters. We got to raise our children to take control of the future, not try to hold them back, and try to hold back to how it used to be. Oh man, I used to do this. I used to wear platform shoes and bells, my hair all laid up. Man, nobody care about that bullshit. Build your time machine going back there then. We moved on. So this was happening here. So he said, I don't want to leave out the country. Please don't make me leave out the country. So he wants to go where? He wants to stay here with his swine daddies. That's what it's telling you. He was their swine. That's what the Quran calls them. Swine, apes and swine. He wants to stay with swine David. And they explain, tell you, they don't know who demons are. Ask them they didn't have an idea what demons are. That's why if you don't understand, if you don't know who demons were, you didn't know who it was before I told you. None of you knew what a demon was, and I told you, and I prove it in the intro because it tells you exactly what a demon is. Right? So he says they result of raping our women. Raping black women for 400 years. That's what it tells you, right? And so he says, send us back with swine daddies. So Jesus gave him mission, because see, Jesus controls the situation now. At that time, Suleiman was controlling the situation. That's why he got to get permission. And we're glad we don't want him anyway. Yeah, go on. We could just slaughter them, but no, go on. Right? See? And then it says, okay, they rush, right? They rushed deep in, and about 2,000, they were drowned in the sea. Now, why I say 2,000? Now, if you notice, in Exodus, it says 3,000. Talking about it says when they slaughtered Aaron and all his followers, right? It says it was 3,000, right? Because we got 3 groups of demons. But in this case, it says 2,000 because Legion is one of them. That's why it says 2,000, because he's one that makes 3,000 altogether. See? They were drowned in the seas. That's another story. See, that gets back to the war with China and all that kind of stuff. Because they're going down with them. They're going to be here. They're going down with them. So that's the demons. Okay? So he separated the demons out, and that's their fate. Okay? And, while I'm on that thing about fate, let me say something real quick right here. If those of you that watch that little thing, Farrakhan out in himself about how he was a hypocrite, how he is a hypocrite and everything, talking about what he was fulfilling prophecy, that's bullshit. We don't fulfill prophecy, right? See, prophecy is fulfillment of our actions. When the scientists wrote, they didn't write something that we had to obey what they wrote. It's like you figure out how the planets work, and you say, okay, hey man, I see the sun's gonna cross the sun, the moon's gonna cross the sun, eclipse. So you write it down. That's a prediction. That doesn't mean you made it happen. That means you just wrote down what you saw was going to happen. Same thing. If you're a weather person, they give prophecies every day. Well, it's going to be a snowstorm. It's going to be this. That they didn't make it happen. They just told you what they see based on their analysis. And that's what the prophecy is, right? The scientists looked and saw what they saw what it was going to do, and they wrote it down. So these clowns, that's how they try to get out. That's why students try to get out. Well, it was the will of Allah. I couldn't help it. You understand? Or if that was fulfilling prophecy, bullshit. That is you. You wasn't locked into that. That was your fate. That's the crap that Farrakhan tell. We can't do nothing unless Allah says it and it's written and all this stuff. That's bullshit. It's not it. They wrote down what they saw you doing. They saw it was a hypocrite. And they wrote it down. They saw it was going to be a liar. They wrote it down. They didn't write it down. Then I got to be a liar because they said I was going to be a liar. So that's how they get out of it. That's how they trick him. So he's so stupid. But those people with him ain't stupid. So they, because if you follow a stupid person, that means you dumber than the person you following, don't it? He's smarter than you. He may be dumb, but he's smarter than you because you're the one he got fooled. So that's what that is. So prophecy, right? Prophecy doesn't determine your actions. Your actions determine prophecy. So they saw your action, they wrote it down. They ain't write down that your actions have to conform to something somebody wrote down. That's crazy. That's insane. Okay, let's move on, brothers and sisters. So we're talking about demon-possessed man, right? Now he's separated. See, he's been called out. Suman called him out, and now he run back to the devil daddies. And then now we see, if we read this, right? The herdsman ran away and reported in the city, country, and people came to see what had happened. And they came to Jesus and observed the man who had been demon-possessed sitting down, clothed in his right mind. Now he's got his right mind. Suman gave him his right mind. See, this is what happened when the war starts, when they attack the NOI. Suman has to rush there, right, to save them and call them 4 winds, right, because they're going to be attacked. The true seed of Abraham will not be attacked. They're going to be delivered. They will be attacked. But the nation of Islam will, because they failed. They were supposed to build a bridge. When I said it was neutral, they were supposed to build a bridge between Elijah and Suleiman, which they did. Instead, they built mansions for Farrakhan. It was the seed. We was in the valley of decision, and they couldn't tell it right hand from their left, because they let Farrakhan confuse them with his bull, right? That's what's happening there. So now they're not allowed to leave. We're going to talk about that in a second, right? But he's got his right mind now. That Suleiman gave him his right mind now. So they say now he has his right mind because the demons were removed from him, right? Clothes, he's sitting down. He ain't beating himself up. No, he ain't running around beating himself, howling, all that stuff. He's sitting down quiet now, right? And he's sitting down, clothed in his right mind. The very man who had the legion. And see, so he don't have it anymore. He's cool now. See? And those who had seen it described to them how it happened to the demon-possessed man and all about the swine. They were separated with this, and the demons were separated from the demon-possessed man. He's not demon-possessed anymore, and he went to the swine. And as Suleiman was getting to the boat, see, they've been delivered. The elect him has been delivered. They get in the boat, they get out of here, right? And the demon-possessed, so the man that was demon-possessed, he says, "Can I go with you?" See, remember, he wanted to go with Suleiman, but it was Farrakhan, the legion stopping him. That in the beginning, he first heard it, but it was legion, Farrakhan, no, put the brakes on it. So how's he doing that? Somehow he has some kind of control. Is that Scientology stuff? Because think about that. The whole idea behind that, you got to go and confess you got to do it honestly. You got to tell everything about yourself. Like Muhammad said, keep your mouth shut. The Bible says, do not let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. See? But they got, that's the whole thing. That's the same thing in the Catholic Church. Scientology is Catholic, it's Catholicism. It's just New Age version of it. The same thing. Because what's the primary feature of Catholicism? The confessional. You go into priest, you confess everything. And then you absolve, you're clean, you're free, right? What do you call it? Now you're clear. Clear of all your sins. Just confess. The same thing. I told you he's teaching you Christianity. He giving you an updated version where you can't, where you're too dumb to understand. That's where he teaches you Christianity. Because that's the whole idea. So you go in your confessional, and then you got to have these people you got to confess to. Tell them all your. And who you think the information is going to? It's going to the FBI. It's also going to Farrakhan. That's why it's set up. So they got all your secrets. So now they got control over you because they tell, oh, it's not forced upon you. Yes, it is. Because if you want to be anything in Nation Islam, in Farrakhan Nation Islam, you want to get any mobility anyway, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this orderly. You got to do it. He says, not compulsive bullshit. Go in there and tell them, you try to be in doing any kind of position, anything, any mobility, anything, trying to get any kind of position, anything, you got to do this. Why? Why are you telling you got to do it? How do you know you got issues? So now you feel an issue. Now you hear him when this so-called safe day stuff, he's saying stuff like, I know some of you out there, man, abusing your children. I know some of you sleep with your daughters. How do you know all this? Because that's how you're getting it. You think the orators are his people. So they're going to say, oh, Mr. Farrakhan, I can't go. It's supposed to be secret, right? So he asked about this person. They're going to say, oh, Mr. Farrakhan, I'm not going to tell you what. You believe that? Do you believe that he's not going to tell them? Open the book and tell them everything about this person? That's probably how he got him. Because he had some hold on him. But now he's gone. See? So now he wants to go. He says, no, you can't go. Because you failed. You're getting a makeup. You got to be, now you got to be baptized with fire. You got to be baptized with fire. You got to go through the tribulation. See? And you got to go and talk to other people out there that you should have been talking to for the last 40 years, when you was out there building mansions for Farrakhan, when you're supposed to be building bridges between Elijah and Suleiman or Joshua, but you was building bridges for him, mansions for him. And now you got to go out, and that's why it says, during that tribulation, they're going to wake up the rest of the people that sleep. Because you were supposed to do it before, you didn't do it. That's what that's all about. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So he didn't let them go. So he didn't have town there. That's why it says. It says what it says. At that time, Michael, Farab would arise. They don't even talk about Michael, do they? Because they don't know who Michael. That's how stupid. They don't know who Michael is. Who else can Michael be? And we're gonna be who else going to deliver us? There gonna be another deliverance? If it ain't Michael, who is it? He's delivering, ain't he? In time of unprecedented trouble. They don't even know that. You never heard him say it. I'm not even sure Elijah Muhammad ever said it. Anyway, so at that point, it says, those who are in the Lamb's book of life, those in the book, those names of the book, those are the ones that's delivered. The rest were not. Then says those who sleep in the dust will awake. See, now the Nation of Islam wakes up now, right? It says some everlasting life and some everlasting shame and punishment. You got two groups again, the demons and the saints. The demons, everlasting shame and punishment, they to destruction. Suleiman, Nation of Islam, right? The Levites, right? They to everlasting life, but they got to go through tribulation because they weren't delivered. Remember, they was left behind, but they still get there, but they got to go through tribulation to get there. They got to go scenic route. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Okay, we're wrapping this up. So I just want a brief little talk here. The mind, it's all about the mind. Your mind's your reality. You change your mind, you change your reality. If you got your enemy's mind, you're your own enemy. That means your whole reality is going to be against you. So you're going to everything's failing, everything's working against me. See? So, because you run your enemy's mind. And you actually causing everything to be against you. Because decisions and everything you're making are decisions against you. They come on, well look, think about it. Look at this Democratic Party. If you vote for them, you put them in power, everything they do is against you. You mess around and you ain't got no job. Because jobs overseas, now you ain't hardly making any money. Right? So you can't afford children. So you tell your old lady, oh, well, you abort them because I can't afford them. Right? And you ain't got a job, so you go out there and start getting a little high. Next day, you know you're in jail for 20, 30 years for marijuana, for smoking dope. See? You're in prison for whatever. Then you get in prison, right? You get turned out. Now you come out, you ain't want no woman no more. See? And then you find out you don't have no political power at all because your population is being destroyed because they're aborting all your children. 22 million already. And democracy, population is the power. So how the hell are you voting for power when you're killing your power? You're killing the party that's killing your children. That's your power. In democracy, your power is your children. And you're killing them. In fact, they say in New York, it's more being born than alive. Being born. So that makes no sense on any level. But that's what you're voting for. Obama voted for it. All of that's what he voted for. Vote for him, he's for it. So that means you don't want no power because you're killing the source of your power. Your numbers. So that's what I'm saying. You got the enemy mind. Christianity, all that stuff, your enemy mind working against you. Yeah, but everything they do is against you. That's why and then you're crazy. Crazy as hell. Because that in itself is crazy, voting against yourself. But it's crazy. You're doing all kinds of crazy stuff, out drinking, smoking, all this stuff you're doing. You're crazy as hell. We ain't judging. We're just telling you the situation. Because those of you who are Abraham's seed, right? Unless you cling to America, you're going home. You're going home. See? And when you going to get your mind restored, once your mind restored, you won't be doing this bullshit no more. So we ain't got to sit there and beat you and put you in prison. All we got to do is get you out of here and give you a shower. Because the shit ain't in you, it's on you. And then there's no problem. See? But if we bring the demons out here, then we got a problem because we can wash them if we want to, but the shit's in them. So no matter how much we wash them, it's still going to be full of shit, causing problems. You understand? That's why we can't let them go. We can't let devils go in either. Well, demons, you can wash them, but they still be around because they got that black covering. But devils, you wash them, you can't clean shit, right? They go away, period, totally, because they shit through and through. See, but demons, they shit inside. See, they clean on the outside, but they could be. See, so they can walk around, look like they clean. So you put them in the shower, and now they look clean on the outside. Like you see Farrakhan's folks, all the demons over there. They got the FY suit on, and they got the dresses and all that kind of stuff. But they're demons. They shit in the inside. Listen to them. Listen what they say and everything. And now they're taking people from Mexico and everybody else and putting uniforms on them and everything. And now they want to bring devils in NOI. Now you tell me that's not shit thinking? Okay, brothers, I hope you understand. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover here. Keep your eyes open because they're playing a big flim-flam. Look over here while they're doing something over here. So all that stuff going in the Middle East, tensions raising like fast, and you hear nothing over here because, hey, Trump is going to call martial law. Trump, see, got all stuff here, but all that stuff. Why? But all that stuff going over there. B-52. Do you know? Look up at B-52. What kind of plane is that? That's those real big ones, the biggest ones they got. Why they send them over there? And submarines in the Persian Gulf. Was it 205 missiles, cruise missiles, nuclear capable? What is going on? Why are they doing that? I mean, Trump, he's probably out here, right, in for 4 or 5 weeks. So why is he doing that now? What the guy say? What's that movie Denzel played in? That submarine movie. I can't think of the name of it right now. Anyway, the guy said you don't put on a prophylactic unless you're about to do something. Okay, brothers and sisters. I try to clean up and say, if you notice, right, I clean up my act. The wife got on my case, said, brother, I know you're being for real and you're getting the message across, but some sensitive brothers and sisters out there, right, So I said, okay. I said, I listened to her. I listened to my wife. And you brothers, sisters, brothers out there, you should listen to your wife. And you sisters out there, right, you should listen to your husbands. You should listen to each other and respect each other's natures. Now, you know, these brothers out here, they don't want to be told what to do by no sister and all that stuff. That's their nature. But see, you wise, sister, you's wise. So you know how to get around that. Don't try to change your man's nature. Because otherwise you have a little punk sitting down on the street, sitting down on the couch, right? Waiting for you to bring the bread home, bring the bacon home, or whatever. I mean, beef bacon. Don't try to change his nature. He got that warrior nature. See? So he's not putting you down. That's just his nature. See? Just like your nature. He shouldn't go against your nature either. See? So we have to understand each other instead of trying to mold and contort and try to control each other. Get out of that control. Because you're trying to control somebody, you lose control of yourself. Think about that. Don't be in controlling mode. Your brothers, don't be trying to control these sisters. Sisters don't try to control. If you can't get along with them, don't go out there and buy a BMW, then try to make it to a Mercedes. Or don't go out and buy a Volkswagen Beetle, put it that way. Try to make it to a Lamborghini. If you want a Lamborghini, get a Lamborghini. You got these brothers go out and get these sisters. They know that ain't what they want. And it ain't gonna work. And then they're gonna try to mold them into something. You got sisters do the same thing. Then they get mad. And now you're in court fighting, tearing your children apart and everything else. If you want a Lamborghini, get a damn Lamborghini. I made that mistake myself. So I know what I'm talking about. Don't try to make somebody something else. Try to control somebody. You lose control of yourself when you do that. See? You only have so much energy. So if you're going to use your energy to control someone else, that energy you don't have control of yourself. So you lose control of yourself. And say, you're all messed up trying to control someone else. If you're in that frame of mind, and that you think that way, because that's the way the analytical mind thinks. You got to get rid of that analytical mind. And we got to respect each other. You got to respect the sisters for their nature and their capabilities, and sisters got to respect the brothers with their capabilities and their. And the truth be told, the sisters have more control over the brothers than the brothers over sisters. They think it's the other way around. See, because the sisters, they smart. I'm not talking about control like control you. I'm talking about influence. That's why I said influence. The sisters have more influence over the brothers than the brothers have sisters. The truth be told, why is that? Because the brother's sitting around here all tough. See, because he don't be told what to do. So she knows how to say it in such a way to get him to do it. And he's happy as long as you stroke his ego. That's where we are, brothers. That's our creation, right? So she's smarter, that's what she's cunning. So next thing you know, right, she's got more influence over you, but you don't know it because you're doing everything she wants you to do. But you think that because that's what you want to do. But that's what she wanted you to do because she's smart. She's cunning. And we blockheaded and we come to deal with that kind of thing. See, we have our powers. When it gets out here taking care of business and kicking ass and take care of, because we're going to take care of that. We're going to bring this whole world under control. See, that's where our strength is. See, but they lay back in the background and scope you. Next thing you know, they got you tied but not. You know how did that happen? So we're equal but different. And we have to respect each other's talents. And we love each other for it. Like I said, one brother said, well, these sisters are irrational. Well, sisters are a little more irrational than brothers. They have to be. It's their nature because that's that maternal instinct. That's the basis of that. If they didn't have that, we wouldn't be alive around here. Because if you want to look at the logic side of it, there's no man on this planet that if they had the ability to give birth, would do it twice. No man would do that twice. I said, that's crazy. Man, you go through all that trouble, man? All that? I ain't doing it. All that pain and everything else? But a sister do it. She'll do it over and over and over again. And brother, that's irrational. That don't make any sense. But if they didn't do it, you wouldn't be around to be talking like that, would you? So that's built into their nature. And it's good. Because they have to be a little irrational to deal with us. See what I'm saying? Because I said we got to have, every male has 10% female in them, and every female has 10% male because they have to be able to communicate with each other. Otherwise, so we have to understand each other's differences and respect it because we complement each other. But we're going to try to make the female a male and the female's going to make the male a female, you got problems. It's not going to work. So they're trying to make our children, the males, trying to get their touch their feminine side. Well, I mean, there's some basic truth in that, but that's not what they mean. They're trying to make you into female. And then once they make you into the female, now you're sitting around ain't doing anything, right? How come you ain't take care of business? How come you let this man talk to me like that? How come these kids just run around, you ain't? They talk about you. You know how your sisters do when y'all be getting your hair done? You know how y'all do. You know how y'all talk about these brothers. Y'all by yourself. You know how you do. See? And your man, he's home, you know, and you got him under control, right? And then you talk, oh man, he weak, man. I got it. You know how y'all do. But when we get our mind back and we start seeing each other for who we are, you understand? And we see confidence, then we see the beauty in each other. And we love that because that's what was made. It was made to appreciate that difference. Different but equal. See? Remember, brothers and sisters, Farad, you know, apple in Farad's eye. He's the God. Don't forget that. He's the God, and we all have to respect that. And he's showed true. He's proven he's the God every day. He's going to prove it with no doubt in a few days. There won't be no doubt in your mind. See, the work that he's about to do, right? And in fact, those of you who've been studying, you realize how I broke the angel, broke the seals. So that proved who I am, who I say I am. But when I raised Lazarus, that can be further proof. See, because you can't just say, I'm a high priest, I'm this, I'm that. Like I said, if a person can't prove it, get away from it. Anybody come, if they bring some crap, prove it. Islam is mathematics, Islam is proven in a limited time. If you can't prove it, get the hell away from you. Don't be bothered with it. See, they can't prove it, I don't want to hear it. People talking this stuff, I tell them, can you prove it? If you can't prove it, I don't want to hear it. See? Even if it's the truth, if you can't prove it, right? Okay, I might accept the truth of it, but I don't even listen to you because you don't even know you're telling the truth now. You're just talking. Just like these scriptees. See, they be saying a lot of truth of what the rest was saying, but they don't know what they can't prove it. So why listen to you? You're just saying you, because first of all, you read this script, how do you know somebody get another script? You be reading that script. Prove everything, brothers and sisters. If what I'm saying, if I can't prove it, check me. If I can't prove it, then get the hell away from me too. I'll tell you that in a minute. Everything I say, I prove mathematically, scientifically, scripturally. And we accept the scripture as proof. But I can prove the scripture's not proof. Because if I say I accept the scripture as proof, and it ain't proof, then that's the problem itself, right? I can prove the scripture's not proof. So understand, brothers and sisters? Let's hold on. Everything that scripture's taught about is in place now. We're that close to the boiling point. And when it happens, everything will change. Assalamu alaikum.